My name is Kamal, and this is BSA's Business and Security. So, the background for BSA as a company is that we analyze zooplankton, algae, and bugs. With the pictures are right there. We identify them according to their genus and species. We measure them and we count how many there are in a certain volume, and we use that to find a larger biomass data for our clients. So the ERP that BSA will be using is Microsoft Business Central, and the critical business process that that Business Central will help with would be customer relationship management. It will allow BSA to track current customers and potential future customers, such as via keeping records on who calls for inquiries about price and the money that they're willing to pay for certain projects. The next another critical business process is product data management, which is essential for BSA to stay afloat, and the ERP will essentially centralize and store the product data needed to send to customers into one big gigantic bank. The next portion is sales order management. It will allow BSA as well as the customers to track their projects, as well as track the finances associated with it, as well as the updates regarding the project finances. Uh, the final one is financial transactions, which will uh, track transactions for BSA, such as customer payments or money that you potentially need to pay for certain certifications for employees, etc. The master data requirements are as follows. Employee information is needed. You need their names, the personal information that an employer would need, as well as W2s, and any other information that an employer would need. Another master data would be contractor information, which would be the name, phone number, email, their project duration, the project requirements, as well as the payment information. And finally, the probably the second biggest after contractor information would be the project information, which would list the sample types, the analysis types, and the analysis data, as well as the final result of the analysis that we will send to the customer. The critical reports that are very important would be the analysis reports, which from there you would need the seasonal algae and zooplankton trend. That way you could compare any new data that you get to previous data to make sure it's not something weird that the customer needs to know about. Another would be the financial statements, such as monthly statements / payment from vendors. This would just make sure we're receiving all the payment for the projects that we have done, and project tracking, which is one of the bigger ones, which is we have a lot of projects and due dates needs to be tracked, as well as project retention rates need to be tracked, because we have some customers who send uh, projects every year, and it could be different types of samples. So the critical interfaces that the new ERP will need to have, it would be a bank connection, so that it can serve as a gateway for payment from vendors, as well as managing overall finances for the business. Sending invoices and reports to customers, another big one. Instead of just using emails, we could use the new ERP, which would be Business Central, to basically have the data there so that the customer could download it on their own. And then the big thing would be running reports on Excel, which we do everything because we have Excel sheets that have formulas already formulated in there for just to input the data, and it'll give out a result. So the key accounting controls would be multi-level approvals for large transactions, or transactions that are deemed important more than like normal ones would be. Segregation of duties, so that no one person has too much power and they can mess up a lot of stuff. Another would be automatic audit trail, which is just be good for keeping strong documentation, and in case there's an audit, you never know. The general computer controls would be role-based access because someone who does just analysis or microscope work has no business being able to see accounting data. Another would be two-step verification just for strong security. And another would be logs for sensitive transactions so that anything weird could be later tracked back. And the last one would be the test system would be separate from whatever actual system you'd use at post ERP implementation so that data doesn't get mixed up. These are my references.